So hi guys, welcome to Crazy Burger. Today we're going to be looking at Astronite, which is a brand new sort of 1-bit Metroidvania style game on the Nintendo Switch. It is available on other platforms, but in this video we're going to be having a quick look and playthrough, and I'll give you my final thoughts. Let's get started. Okay, so this is Astronite and it's a 1-bit Metroidvania style game and it's absolutely fantastic. I've only got maybe about a quarter of the way through the game so far and I've really enjoyed it. In this video I'm going to do a quick sort of playthrough, the first maybe hour or so. We won't have a full hour video right enough, but I will be playing through it, give you my opinion, some tips of the actual game, my opinions, some sort of flaws and issues that I have with it, and I'll give you my final thoughts. This is probably the second boss in the game and it is particularly quite hard. It's really quite cool though. I love the style, it's absolutely fantastic. But it's certainly a tricky game. It's very reminiscent of Hollow Knight, and that's obviously also a very tricky game as well. So it's not for the faint-hearted, that's for sure. But wow, it's a really cool game, there's no doubt about it. The style is absolutely fantastic. So first off I want to say thank you very much for Funstock for sending me Astronite so that we can actually review it, really appreciated. Obviously just like to say that this video is not being sent to them for approval before I put the video up, and all my opinions in this video is completely my own. But yeah, this is from Funstock, who are seemingly in charge of doing all the sort of hard copies, physical copies of this game. This is a brand new sort of a retro style game. It's so called a 1-bit Metroidvania style, and it combines action, exploration, puzzles, platformers, that kind of thing. Now if you follow me for Cade, the recent Alwa's Awakening and Cathedral Cart, if you like that you will probably really enjoy this. This is a really cool game, the style of it is fantastic. It does have a really tough challenge, right enough. It is a really difficult game and you will die a lot, but it's a very good game. If you love that style of game, Metroidvania, platform, puzzle, adventure, much like Hollow Knight as well, then you will really enjoy it. Not really a lot in the box. You can see there's some art inside. There's no manuals unfortunately anymore in these games. There is a sort of inlay inside of it, which is quite cool. This is actually the shop that's in the game, and you've got your little cartridge for the Nintendo Switch, which is kind of cool. Let's get rid of that so you can actually see it. So this is the little cartridge for Astronite. You can see Funstock have got their name on it as well, which is kind of cool. Now you can get this on PlayStation 4 and 5, and maybe some other platforms as well. This is the physical version. If you're interested, I'll leave a link in the description for Funstock. Yeah, pretty cool. Anyway, let's get this booted up to the big screen and we'll sort of go through maybe the first half an hour to an hour of gameplay, and obviously I letted it so it's not a full hour for this video purposes. You've obviously already seen it running on the actual Switch itself and it plays fantastic, but let's get it on the big screen so you can see it properly. Astronite. Okay, here we have this title screen. There are some settings that you can go through, which we'll probably go through when we're actually playing the game. There's some shaders here that's probably the most interesting part. There's game time you can add, vibration, etc. The vibration you might want to turn off, because when it does vibrate it is kind of annoying rather than helpful. But yeah, so here we have the actual intro. And it gives you the story. It basically, in a sort of nutshell, you're going back to a planet that you once lived on. It's obviously been overridden by a lot of creatures, so you need to go back and report and see what's happening basically. And you're obviously playing this unnamed sort of astronaut sort of fellow, and that's basically it. It's quite a stylish looking game, no doubt about it. It's very nice. It's that 1-bit style, which is really just two colours, which is in this case it's black and white. And I think the style actually reminds me very much of Hollow Knight. That's the first thing that sort of springs to mind. It's got a mixture of a few different style of games like that. One of the other aspects, along with the graphics, that springs to mind was when you lose some of your credits in game when you die. obviously you lose all your credits when you die, which is a little bit irritating. You can go back and retrieve them, but that reminds me a little bit of Hollow Knight. But there's a lot of other aspects that's stolen from other games as well. But there's no doubt about it, it's a stylish game in its own right, and it's an enjoyable game to play. It is a tough challenge, right enough. Okay, once you eventually crash land, this is really just a tutorial start to the game, showing you the main sort of moves. You've got your B button for jump, you've also got a jetpack at present, and you can use that to reach higher platforms. You've got your sort of pistol gun there that you can use to defeat enemies, and there's also even a dash button which you'll find in a little minute. You press down and B button to go down platforms such as that. You get a lot of prompts as well if you get stuck, so that is quite helpful. But you can see here there's a tricky few platforms to negotiate right even at the start of the game. You've got the sort of dash and the jetpack jump thing, which is really quite cool. But frustratingly, you don't actually have these for long in this game. You get them stolen from you immediately from some of the occupants that are on this planet. And that's a little bit frustrating because you're really just getting used to it and then they get stolen from you. So it's a little bit annoying. And it takes you probably the best part of half an hour to an hour to get those back initially. So you need to then get your pistol back first, and then you need to get your jetpack, blah blah blah. So it's a little bit frustrating. And here's one of the first puzzles in the game. Yeah, it's pretty simple. You're really just activating all these floating bubble things to activate the door at the bottom of the screen. But the puzzles definitely get a lot trickier through the game. There's no doubt about that. There's not a lot at the start, but it sort of teases you nicely into the game with the sort of basic moves and stuff. But yeah, just before you get too comfortable, your weapons and jetpack get completely stolen from you. You can see you've got a map here as well, but that goes away as well once you lose your jetpack in this very next screen, which is kind of frustrating. So it certainly changes the game up right away, so you won't get too comfortable, that's for sure. So right away we've got this part of the game where you need to get your pistol back, and then thusly you'll need to get back your jetpack. But it still feels almost like a tutorial at the start, but at this point you can actually use your gun. You need to negotiate through the obstacles and the enemies that you see without even touching anything, so it's certainly quite challenging. And there's no doubt in this game you will probably die quite a lot, but there are save points located throughout the game, and once we get to that I will highlight them to you. And sometimes it's a little bit strange when you die. You either go back to the save point. I've seen a few times I've actually died, it's went back to the start of the screen, which is a little bit strange and inconsistent. Not entirely sure why and what reason that was for, but I'm not really complaining too much. It just seems a little bit inconsistent. Eventually, once you get your pistol back, you will be able to take these enemies out, but at present you really just have to avoid them. So it kind of changes the game style up quite a lot until you get the pistol back. You can then obviously take them out, which is much more satisfying, and you can get some additional credits that help you through the game. You see here we're still chasing our pistol till we get to that ominous first boss. Okay, just as a quick tip here, make sure you jump down this well, because this is the first save point before you get to the first boss, because you'll probably die a few times. I know I did. So if you just push up at this station, it saves your progress and also gives you all your health back, which is perfect, because you can see here you've got the ominous sort of cloud thing that warns you that there's a boss coming up, so you know one's coming, and that prepares you to know that you probably should go save your game before you actually try and take on the boss, which is absolutely solid start. Once you get to know what the moves are right enough, you will no doubt defeat it eventually, but I definitely died quite a few times. Actually, once I'd actually defeated it without even losing any health, and quite a few times before it I just couldn't get anywhere and died quite frequently. But that's probably just me. If it's you or anyone else, you might find this easier than I did, but I found it quite challenging right away. So with the first boss out of the way, you then open up the shop. Well, at present though, there's nothing actually for sale, and there's probably a reason for that, as you'll see in the text. But eventually, once you get going, you will open up items in the shop that you can buy, utilising the sort of shrupte, I think it's called shrupte, which is like credits. Once you defeat all the enemies, they'll drop sort of credits which you pick up, and that really acts as money to spend in the shop here. But as a word of warning, once you actually die, you lose everything that you've collected already. However, you can then go back to where you sort of died and pick it up again, but it can be frustrating. Just be wary of that. If you've been collecting a lot of the credits as you go and then you die, it's a nightmare. So make sure you save frequently, and if you've got plenty of credits, maybe jump back to the shop and spend them wisely on all the items that you can see in the shop. You don't see anything just now, but on the pedestals there will be items where you can update your health, update firepower, etc. and stuff like that, get your map. I'll cover that once we actually open up the shop properly when we get through the game. But yeah, this is the shop, and you see it's called Spritty. I think it's like spirits basically that are left when you defeat all the enemies. So make sure you go about and collect as much as you possibly can, and you can upgrade a lot of things in the shop, like your jetpack and all sorts of things. So it's quite important to make some progress through the game. Okay, on the top left hand corner of the screen here, you'll see this is the sort of telephone, which is used for teleporting to other parts of the map, but obviously you need to find the other telephones in each of the sections to be able to jump back and forth. It's basically a sort of sort of whole teleportation device that you can go back, and you can see here there's plenty of map that's opened up, but there are still parts that you can't actually reach until you maybe get the jetpack or upgrades to your sort of pistol, for example. But yeah, this is where it starts to get a little bit trickier. This reminds me a little bit of Sonic the Hedgehog, as you go through the water levels trying to sort of breathe. But yeah, it's another kind of puzzle element of it. It's really quite good fun. But yeah, again, you'll probably die quite a lot. You see here we've got a sort of similar style puzzle to the first game, but you can see you need to hit the bubbles here in the right order. You can see they can almost make out the Roman numerals of 1, 2 and 4, so it's a little bit of hit and miss to hit the right ones in the right order to stop the water levels from rising and escape from this first little devious puzzle without dying and going back and doing it again. Wow, really good fun, really cool. I'm sure there'll be lots more puzzles like it through the game that'll sort of stretch your brain power quite a lot, I think. And yeah, just when you think you've done that, you reach some the traditional tricky pillars that are dropping down to squash you into oblivion and die with frustration. Okay, massive tip here, you will open up this chest and you'll get a whole lot of spirit striptease or whatever you want to call them. I would recommend right at this point is go straight back to the shop. You can do a shortcut at the start here. This basically takes you back to where the first boss was. If you go right from this point, then fall down, go to the shop and spend all that on some kind of upgrade that you can afford at this point. Don't do like I did and die then lose it. So as mentioned at the start of the video, there are some shaders and options here. You can put on the game time if you like, and there's different shaders that you can change the graphic styles to, which looks like, I don't know, scan lines or something. I'm not really sure what's going on. It makes it look a little bit older. It does look a little bit strange. Not sure which one you would prefer. I really just want to leave it at the standard setting, but you might want to change that if you prefer some of the other settings. But it's there if you want to use them. So once you eventually get back to the shop, you can clearly see there's a lot of other things you can buy here. You can upgrade the map module, you can upgrade your health, upgrade the pistol, but yeah, you'll probably need a heck of a lot more credits to get the good stuff basically. But there's some basic stuff here that you could probably afford even at the early part of the game here. And I would recommend, after you've sort of opened that chest that you see near the start, is come straight back here and even buy the map module, because that will be quite helpful to get a little bit further. You cannot, I think I upgraded the health module at the top here, which you can use to get an extra health bar, which is probably quite helpful because it will give you that extra chance to make it through the game a little bit further and maybe stop a little bit of frustration from appearing through the game. But yeah, always keep coming back to this when you've got enough of the sort of credits. Otherwise you will probably die and lose them quite frequently and get a little bit frustrated. Okay, my final thoughts on Astronite on the Nintendo Switch. I really like it. It's a very cool, polished, stylish game, there's no doubt about it. I love that sort of puzzle, Metroidvania style game. It's very much like your Hollow Knight or Alwa's Legacy or Alwa's Awakening or Cathedral that we've seen on the Evercade recently, which is also on the Switch. It's not perfect, obviously it's very tough, it's a stiff challenge, not for everyone. I don't like the fact that you can't actually fire diagonally, you can only fire sort of vertically or horizontally, meaning some enemies will get you just like that without you being able to do a heck of a lot about it. So there is frustration there based on silly mechanics like that. So you can actually utilise the shoulder buttons, for example, to maybe try and aim better. Maybe that comes later in the game, I don't know. But so far I've really enjoyed it, apart from the fact that it is really frustrating and stiff. But there's no doubt it's very stylish. If you look at this, the sort of second boss here, the design is absolutely fantastic. Even though it's black and white, it's so effective in this game. The sound effects, the music are absolutely fantastic. And if you love your sort of Metroid style games, your retro 1-bit style games, this is going to be perfect for you. Just beware though, if you don't like games that are too difficult, you may get a little bit frustrated, like I did at times. I certainly went back and forth with these bosses until you basically learn the moves, and then you can get past it and you wonder what all the fuss was all about. But they all have similar style moves. They're kind of predictable, so it's just a matter of learning that and sort of making your progress through the game. But I'm looking forward to playing it more. I'm really enjoyed it so far. I'm only maybe a very small fraction of the way through the game. I'm not entirely sure how long it lasts, but I would entirely recommend it. It's on the Nintendo Switch, it's on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. You can probably download it on your Steam Deck as well if you have that, and it's relatively inexpensive as well. I'll leave links in the description for Funstock if you're interested. Thanks again to Funstock for providing this for review purposes. I really enjoyed it. Thanks very much. And I'll catch you in the next one, guys. I'll leave you at the end of this video with a trailer from Funstock themselves of the actual game and a little bit more in depth through the actual game itself. Bye for now, guys.